let's learn the math behind becoming a millionaire. Are you ready to learn the math behind becoming a millionaire? Because our buddy, Dave Ramsey, has the math behind becoming a millionaire.
I would love to see them do some math. I suspect we will not see them
do math. No, they never do math. They just say they're going to do math. So let's dive in. Dave Ramsey.
The thing that we have discovered at Ramsey 30 years ago that has made all the difference in the world in people's lives is not the tactical what to do with money
stuff. All right, let me speed him up. I always forget how slow he is.
It's the understanding that personal finance is 80% behavior.
Yes.
20% head knowledge. The mathematics of becoming a multi-millionaire are learned by the 6th grade. Spend less than you make.
Oh, Dave. I mean, that requires self-control.
Ta-da! Yeah, so the problem is the guy in my mirror.
Yeah.
If I can control this goober, he can be skinny and rich. But goober has a problem.
Okay. Well, there you go. Just live within your means. That's it. That's the problem. I'm not going to say most people don't overspend. They do, but there is some behavior to it. But a lot of it too is understanding it.
Means,
go ahead.
Living within your means is automatically going to make you a millionaire, huh?
Well, that's the problem. And that's, well, I mean, we harp on it all the time. We might as well just cut to the chase. The problem is that there are two. If you want to be a millionaire, part of it is, yeah, you have to live within your means. You can't spend like an idiot. But the other part of it is you got to make enough money to save that kind of money to be a millionaire.
Right. You have to make enough money, and you have to invest it, and you have to invest it very well.
Yeah. I mean, I could make $25,000 a year and live within my means, but I'm never going to be a millionaire. It's just not going to happen. I mean, so this is it's all ridiculous. So, but I could tell you, you know what I learned that? I learned that in 7th grade math. So maybe he should have stayed to junior high, because that's when they covered, oh yeah, you have to have it to grow it, right? That's
right. If you're making $25,000 a year and you're living within your means, and you manage to save $5,000 a year, you'd be saving a huge amount of money on $25,000 a year.
Right.
But how are you turning that into you being a millionaire?
Right. Plus, you don't really learn exponents until 7th grade geometry anyway. So maybe Dave should have stayed in school one more year. He'd understand how wrong this all is.
Problem. His name is Dave. And you got.
That's true. You have a problem named Dave. I agree with that statement. Do you agree with that statement, or?
Yes.
Lady says I'm abstaining.
I've got to figure that out, because that's the bad news. The bad news is I'm the problem. The great news is I'm the solution.
Yeah.
It's a decision, something different, because you kind of already know what to do. We'll give you the fine tuning, and we'll show you but we don't sell magic beans here. Jack is not here.
Yeah.
Dave's here.
I'm going to disagree with that. You do sell magic beans. That's what you sell. And he's wrong. You just decide. Lacey, you just decide to be a millionaire. Just decide.
Well, that's easy. I decided I'm going to be a millionaire. Boom. Done.
Done. It's stupid. Just decide.
You have to do the work. There's no easy button to push on this. There's no magic pill, like you said. You're going to have to look at what you're doing, and if you want a different situation, you're going to have to do something different. If you want to experience change, you're going to have to change your habits. That's how it works. You can't just keep doing the same thing and think you're going to get the same result. And what I love about how we teach money is they are very simple concepts, Dave. Very simple. Live on less than you make.
Yeah.
Get on a written plan.
And they're countercultural.
Absolutely.
Because most people spend more than they make.
Yes.
Get out of debt, stay out of debt. That's counterculture, because most people believe you have to have debt to win. And actually the data says, in 30 plus years of doing this, leading more people into millionaire status than anybody else.
The data does not agree with that. In fact, most millionaires have had to take out significant amounts of debt. throughout their lifetime. So that's just bullshit. This is him quoting his stupid little study, which isn't even a study. But yeah, no, that's bullshit.
Tells me and tells you and tells us at Ramsey that the proper way to do this is get out of debt, because your most powerful wealth building tool is your income.
Yeah.
And so you've got to pay a price to win. You got to live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. There's a price to be paid to get out of the mess that you make.
And then the problem is he's so close. He's right. Your income is your biggest earning savings tool, because that's money coming in. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay things unless you have money coming in. So this idea that, yeah, it is your income, but if your income is low, you can't afford to do a lot of shit. Like save a ton of money every month.
Right.
I mean, they're missing the point. Yeah, you have to make choices and change, but you need to understand what you're getting into. And part of the reason I think a lot of people, just my experience, tend to overspend is they don't really understand the value of the money and what they're doing, and they haven't prioritized it. Right? And sometimes, go ahead.
I mean, to a degree, what I can get behind that he says is like having a plan, because there are a lot of people that are just shooting at the hip with their money. But he's sort of oversimplifying it, because you have to earn enough money to be able to save and invest enough money,
Mm-hmm.
in order to do these things. And we've discussed before that he's largely, targeting a certain demographic that's not a lower earning demographic. That's not who his target audience is.
No, and then the other thing about it too is, yeah, there are simple things that everybody says, that everybody knows, right? You have to live within your means, right? If you spend more than you make, you're going to be in debt. You're going to be in trouble. Everybody, this is kind of a basic, everybody knows common sense thing, right? So when I say it, it's not a revelation. When Dave says it, it's not like he's figured out something nobody else did. He acts like it when he says it, but that's not what it is. Like you said, you need to live within your means. Yeah, you need to have a plan on what you're going to do. But part of that is you need to figure out what it is you're trying to achieve. Right? And the other thing is when you're doing that, being a millionaire might not be within the plan. It might not be something you care about, or it might just not be possible.
Right.
And then you got to figure out what you really want. But that's the thing is he's promising you can be a millionaire. Well, if you're shooting for a goal that can't be achieved, all you're going to do is fall short. And what is that going to cost you in the long run? Probably quite a bit.
Right. Right.
That's my whole issue. Go ahead.
There's also, sort of the side factor, and we've mentioned this before. Okay, let's say you do achieve millionaire status. Sometimes that can be a little deceiving, because you might technically be a millionaire and really not have much money to be able to just work with, because it could be all tied up in your home and your 401k combination. Right. If it's all tied up there, then you can technically be a millionaire, right, and still, be needing to work because you don't have access to the funds. They're not available to you necessarily, Well, so right, there's the other side of it too, which just sort of drives me a little bit crazy that part is sort of largely ignored.
Yeah. Right. It's that whole thing about, how did Elon Musk lose half of his money? Was a couple $100 billion? It's not that he physically had that in cash. That was stock that went down in value. Right. So it's not like that was physically money he had in his hand.
Right.
So, but yeah. So we'll go a little further, because it's just boiling here.
Yeah. And let us be like you said, it is countercultural, because everything out there is telling you to be reliant on something else. The credit system is telling you, you need credit. You need us. You can't exist in this world without us. And the government tells us the same thing. You need us. You can't exist in this world and pay off your debts. You need us. Everything is giving us the message that we cannot be reliant upon our own volition. We can't handle our money ourselves. We can't do anything on our own. And that's completely false. You actually do have control.
So this is what I love. So she's actually just summed up the entire conservative argument when it comes to finance. And she did it really simplistically. I wish I'd have thought of it. It's their mindset is everybody's telling you have to be dependent on the system. And you have no free will. Right? It's a black or white. Either you have some dependence on the system or you are totally independent. There's no in between. Right? And when they frame, like when we make the argument, what they always frame it as, well, you're just saying that we should give up and be dependent on the system. And we're not saying that. We're saying, yeah, you have to take responsibility for yourself. And you can make choices that'll make your life better. But at the same time, you're a part of society. So if you're not a part of the system and you're not working within the system or working with the system, then how are you going to succeed? And the funny thing about it is these people work in the system and are dependent on the system. They're extremely dependent on the system. And yet they sit there and bitch about the system's always trying to tell us we need to be dependent on them. But you are. They cannot make that money that they make without the system. How do they think the roads are built? The electricity, the sewage. They're going to publish their books. They get copyrights. Who protects their copyrights? Fairies? No, the fucking government.
The copyright fairies.
Right? They're using the internet to broadcast their show, to sell their products and their books. They sell a lot of apps. Right? Who provided all the technology and the infrastructure for that? The federal government. Who developed it? Universities.
Right.
Most of the business technology that we use, most modern technology, developed in universities, paid for by the government. Private companies pick it up and market it. Everything, they are dependent on the system, and yet they're bitching about, well, they're saying you have to be dependent on the system. It's like, yeah, you do a little bit. And if the system is in a position where you're getting fucked, where you're not making a lot of money, you can't get ahead, you grew up poor, you can't get an advantage, then there's a problem there, and you need to start saying, no, I want to get the benefits. I want equal opportunity. But if you're them and you're already rich, well, whoa. Now this all makes sense. Why? No, don't depend on the system. The system sucks. Don't try to change the system. Don't try to improve the system to help you out. No, you just rely on yourself and do it. Because if we change the system, now it's a threat to me and my money. Because the system's already worked for me. I'm already rich.
Right.
So I want the system to be in a position where it makes me richer. Right? And I'm going to talk to you about, well, just be independent and don't depend on the system when I am woefully dependent on the system. These same people, when banks get bailed out for hundreds of billions of dollars, don't bat an eyelash.
It's also short-sighted to sit and think that you're not in any way dependent on the system. Mm-hmm. You're operating inside of it, and therefore, in some respect, you are dependent on portions of it. Maybe less portions than some other people, but you are dependent on chunks of the system. So it's worth paying attention to and making sure it's a system that's actually serving people, you know?
Well, it just reminds us, like, if you read, like, older books about tribes or, early people, right? And you're sitting there thinking, yeah, you have the tribe or the village, and it's like, these are the people that have all this stuff, but they don't want to work, and then they're bitching about, well, you need to be independent, you need to work harder. No, the tribe would just beat the shit out of you. Or kill you, right? Because you're a fucking drag on the rest of the tribe. If we're in a tribe and I go out and catch 20 fish, and I don't just sit there and hoard them to myself, I share them with the tribe. Because we're a tribe. Well, we have to depend on each other. Because what happens if I get sick or injured and I can't fish? Well, then I'm going to need Lacey to help me out and go fish or something.
Right.
Right? But this idea that no, just be completely independent. They're trying to make a black and white argument on what's already a very gray situation, which is how do we live together as a society? But that's what it is. It's, well, you can just do it all on your own. No, you can't. You still have to have a job that somebody gave you. And that person can only provide that job if they're getting benefits from the government, like roads to their business, electricity, internet. I mean, they just don't seem to get it. I mean, it's amazing to me.
Control over how you spend your money. You actually do have control over the decisions that you make. That's false.
But part of it is whether you're 25 or whether you're 55 is growing up.
Absolutely.
And one definition of maturity is the ability to delay pleasure. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good.
Yep.
And I don't care how old you are. If all you do is go on your feelings, then you're a child.
Absolutely.
You have to say, all right, there's a destination over here.
Yeah, but all your decisions here are based on feelings. Let's see if they get anything.
You know what? And not to mention,
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's wildly inappropriate to discount, the power of people's feelings and the power of their intuition.
Sure.
Sometimes you gotta do that gut check, and that's sort of checking in with your feelings. And how do you make decisions about what you want to be doing and what your goals are? You can't just go one size fits all on your money. You have to check in with your feelings to even figure out what you want. So I can't stand that stuff of him telling people, like, what feels good doesn't matter. You know what? If your job feels really terrible every single day, check in with your feelings. That's probably a bad job for you. Don't tell people their feelings don't count.
I think in his mind, he's trying to say, well, sometimes you just have to suck it up and take care of things, which is true. That's fine. I understand it, but that doesn't mean you have to give up your life for that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
But it seems frequently like his advice kind of borders on, give up your life. Like, here's the type of life that you need to have. So if it's not this type of life, right, then you need to exit it. So you don't have to give up your life as long as this is the type of life you pick, right?
Well, right, and that's part of the thing with all these like financial guru guys, even of like the Tony Robbins guru guys or the spiritual. You need to be living the same life I am. Exactly the same. They set the goal for you. They don't ask you, what do you want? It's the assumption is you want to be me. That's where he's starting from. You want to be me. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. But it's not how he did it. But that's the sale point. The sale point is I'm a rich guy. I'm worth hundreds of millions. I can do all this shit. Be like me. Buy my magic beans, my miracle elixir. That's why he has to constantly say it's not magic beans. It's not magic beans. The math is settled. Of course, we're not going to do any math, but the math is settled. It's all promise, promise, promise.
We have not yet gotten to the point where we did math.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, it's my boyfriend keeps saying he's going to propose to me, and then it's, every time I ask, it's mañana, mañana, mañana. Right? That's all it is. Yeah, you'll be a millionaire. When? 30 years? It's always, that's how it is. But, keep paying me every month for my app or my product or... Let's see one.
I deserve a new car. Call the wambulance. Seriously, children do what feels good. Now, I've been...
Okay, well, I'm going to stop there. Okay. You just do what feels good. And I'm going to respond with my feelings about your feelings. But not because it feels good.
Oh, I can't even.